Yeah, I think it's a byproduct of hopefully our guys are taking that a little more serious. Having said that, playing on the road versus playing at home, you're playing a team that turns the opposition over versus a team that doesn't turn the opposition over at a super high rate. Their defense is built a little bit differently. Some defenses, like Michigan State's or Rutgers, is built to contain, and they'll turn you over some, but that's not what they do. Other defenses, just in how they play, turn you over a lot. So that's some of it as well. I don't think we can sit back and say we corrected our turnover issue. We haven't. I think we did some good things today, but we still got to do a better job.
And as far as the high shooting percentage, how much of that with this game in comparison to some of the other games is just the shots fell, and in other games they were good shots and just didn't fall?
A lot. You know, I think we did look at some things in how they guarded us the first time that we needed to do different offensively to free up some of our shooters, and those were effective. But a lot of it is, you know, kind of, are you making or are you missing? I just think I'll look back and say the quality of our shot was as good as it's been, and we showed a little more patience.
Caleb made his first 6 shots. I don't know if you glanced up at the scoring board, but he had 17 of your first 20 points to start the game.
He's allowed to do that.
What's going through your mind as you're seeing, you know, is he pouring a month worth of frustration into making some outstanding offensive plays for over a 15-minute stretch there? Just what's going through your mind and his mind at that point?
I kind of think he took what the defense gave him. Obviously, he was on a roll there, and we knew he was on a roll, and a lot of that was just within the flow of the offense. I thought he did a really good job in the second half, not settling for some threes when he could have settled. He had one in the corner that he passed, drove it, and passed it to Keyshawn. I thought that was as good a play as any he made, as crazy as that sounds. But yeah, he you know, you heard me in the summer say we need him to shoot threes. He has great touch. We charted every shooting drill. He's, you know, top 5 or 6 in our team in terms of shooting drills. So we want him to continue to do that. But I also think he didn't settle. And defensively, they play a little bit different than, you know, he was pretty active there. He got touches there. And they use their 7-footers and say, hey, we're going to play you one-on-one. Not every team that we play is going to do that, and when teams trap and do other things, we'll have to adjust.
The flip side of that, the rest of you guys were 1 for 11 to start the game. Were you concerned that he's not going to be able to sustain this or sustain us and some other people? In some regard, you were lucky he showed up for the game because the rest of them were kind of struggling at the beginning.
Yeah. You know, it's the ebbs and flows of games. Obviously, I didn't know we were 1 of 11, but I knew some other guys were struggling. Really, what we're trying to evaluate right now is the quality of our shots. What is the quality of our shot? What is the quality of our shot? Are we getting the shot every time? And then what's the quality? And then if they're good and, you know, high level, then we're fine. And I think we missed some open ones there.
Chris, it seemed kind of likely that, given the way this roster is built, that some of those younger guys are going to have to develop in a hurry. Is Luther turning the corner now to where he can be someone you can count on more consistently? Did you anticipate that happening with him?
I think I did. He's been pretty reliable for us on both ends, with the exception of his turnovers today. His shot making's been reliable. He's been pretty reliable defensively in terms of competing on that end. His help side defense has to get better, but every freshman does. But yeah, he's been one of those guys now that we're saying, okay, if he continues to compete on both ends and take good shots, he's going to be a fairly heavy minute guy.
Did anything change offensively? I mean, obviously the ball is going down the last 2 or 3 games for him. Is it, you know, comfort for him getting better shots? Has anything changed specific to him on offense? Because the defense seemed pretty consistent all along.
We're running a few more things for him, but I also think he's just, you know, figuring some things out a little bit. The game's slowing down for him probably a little bit in some ways. He's doing a really good job with that.
The last couple of games, Caleb has been making his first move quicker, and it looks stronger. And am I reading into that? Is it happening?
Yeah.
Why, is that what you've been talking to, been sinking in?
People have not been going for his counter, or for his second or third move. They've just been walling up. So I think the decisiveness in his moves are really, really important. He needs to be decisive. And if they counter and they wall you up, then he can kick it out. But his step through and counters, teams have not been going for that. They've just been walling him up. So he needs to post a score and be decisive in his move, and he did a great job of that today.
And Rutgers is really thick and strong underneath. Was the three in the game plan?
Making threes?
Well, taking them.
Making threes was in the plan. We did feel like that they really do a good job with, now they're big inside, but they're long, 6'4" point guard, 6'5" point guard coming off the bench. So they're long across the board. So we did feel like we wanted to play inside out, but when we did that, there were going to be opportunities to shoot threes. Did I anticipate we'd make 13? No. But I do think, as I've said, that this team can struggle getting to the free throw line. We've got to be able to make threes, shoot threes, and make threes.
You mentioned about this summer, and going into the season, it seemed like Caleb Weston and CJ Jackson were kind of the guys that people look to as kind of the faces for this team. And it's pretty rare that, or it hasn't happened this year, where you've seen two guys score more than 15, more than 20 points at the same time. How important kind of is Caleb Weston and CJ Jackson to taking over games, and how could it kind of set the tone in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to be aggressive offensively, and whether that means in some cases taking over like Caleb did today. I mean, that's what good players do, and he's a really good player. I also think he is a sophomore, but I think that's what good players do, and he showed great assertiveness. I mean, I think that we all get enamored with scoring, and we're looking for how are guys playing the complete game, and are they, in CJ's case, is he defending his position, which I didn't think he did very well early. He did better late. Is he leading the team defensively? Is Caleb leading the team defensively? Are they taking care of the ball? Are they rebounding? Like, there's so many other elements. They obviously scored the ball today, but there are times when our guys have scored 11 points, and you might think he's struggling, and we're looking and evaluating him in film and saying, hey, listen, he did a really good job. They trapped Caleb, but he rebounded. He had 11 rebounds against Nebraska. I thought it was a really effective game for him.
When assertiveness is such an important part of the game, like it is a player's game, like it is for Caleb, how has it been the last couple of games, sort of wanting him to be in that mode, but also managing his emotions so that he's not picking up, cheap fouls and getting the 4 or 5 when there's 10 minutes left, things like that?
Well, it's just been a lot of conversations and film work and controlling what we can control in those areas. And as coaches, us trying to control the positions we're putting him in better, doing a better job with that, and him doing a better job controlling his emotions and playing with the kind of intelligence that we know he can play with. And managing frustrations that naturally come from a young player whose teams play him very physically. And I think he's taken strides in that, but it's not going to be the last time that he gets frustrated in a game with how teams are playing him.
Has that been difficult for both sides, for him and for you guys, you to coach him through and for him to sort of bring his emotional level down a little bit?
You'd have to ask him that if it's been difficult. It's not been difficult for us to coach him because he wants to get better in that. I mean, it's been some honest conversations, but as I said, I love guys that want to get better, and Caleb wants to get better, and he wants to be coached. And not everybody's like that. He is. I love that about him. It's not to say we don't have some of our moments, but I love that about him.
And there were a couple of times where maybe in the past the ball was rolling around on the floor, or this guy had the ball down low, and Caleb didn't reach in, and I think maybe he's been bitten by that a couple of times. How much of your conversations have just been, listen, use your side, keep your hands up, and don't put yourself in those positions where you can get those ticky-tacky?
We've had those conversations. Perhaps that was a byproduct of him playing 38 minutes too. It's hard to bend down when you play 38 minutes when you're that big.
Is it fair to say that many teams have challenged you to score from the outside, even to the point of using zones to that effect. And is it also fair to say that you're going to have to shoot better from out there? Or do you feel you're a good shooting team from out there when you get pressed like that?
I do. I think we were 5th in the league in 3-point percentage going into this game. It's good, not great. I do think we've got to shoot it a little bit better, but it's certainly been the game plan for us. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, the book is out on us in terms of how to play Caleb. Now, teams will play differently. You obviously have we had a better feel for how they would play us going into this game because they had been successful up there. We'll see Penn State might play us entirely different. And some teams are just system teams. They're playing it exactly into their system, but we'll need to adjust to how the defense is played. Some teams are going to pack the pace. Some teams are going to say, Caleb, try to beat us one-on-one. And we'll need to make adjustments.
Chris, there's a lot of ebbs and flows to seasons. You got in a little bit of a rut. Maybe you're coming out of it now. Can this, I know it's just one win, but there's some winnable games now. Do you sense that this could be the start, or is it just one?
I'm just trying to evaluate respectfully. I know guys, look at ahead and say these are winnable. These aren't winnable. Coaches don't look at that like that. Coaches are just, they know everyone is going to be extremely challenging and difficult. Obviously, our next game is against a team that beat us, was 3-0 against us last year. So I think for us, really, it's can we just keep getting better? Can we make adjustments that we need to? Can we get more contributions from more guys? Can our turnover rate improve? Those are the things we're really focusing on.
Was CJ the difference if Caleb goes for 18 or 20 and he brings his 20 along, then that's a good formula?
I think I would put Key along with that. Those are 3 guys that, and Andre was good today. He just had a little bit got in foul trouble. But I think, we need consistency out of a number of guys. I don't think this team, you can pin it on just one guy. Certainly Caleb led the way offensively today, but I wouldn't want to pin any of our loss on any particular guy or guys. It has to be a collective thing.